Volvo V70R. Station wagons haven't been popular in a long time, and even when they were popular, they were never really cool. They were practical, sure, but they were never cool. A station wagon with a Volvo badge will probably be recognized as safe, but it's also the last vehicle most people would want to drive aggressively. Those people have also probably never heard of the V70R with an inline-5 making 296 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It had some serious power to put down through its all-wheel drive system. It could also hit 60 mph in less than 6 seconds, making it a real performance bargain for the dad who wants a Miata with room for his wife and 2 kids. Mazda Speed 6. In the midsize sedan segment, if you don't want to completely lull yourself to sleep every time you get behind the wheel, you buy a Mazda 6. It's more fun to drive than the Hyundai Sonata or the Toyota Camry, but at the same time, it's nothing special. After all, it's still a midsize sedan, and midsize sedans are built to be practical cars for sensible people. In 2005, though, Mazda decided to throw practicality and sensibility out the window, opting to let its Mazda Speed team do its dirty work. The result was an all-wheel drive sports sedan with a 270 horsepower, turbocharged 4 and a 6-speed manual transmission. It could hit 60 mph in less than 5.5 seconds, and yet to the untrained eye, it's still just a sensible, practical family sedan. Audi 6 Rupees. Audi's 6 Rupees is an enormous, rounded-edge sedan with a minimally aggressive exterior hiding a monster powertrain. From far away, it can be hard for even knowledgeable bystanders to differentiate an 6 Rupees from a standard A6, but its twin-turbocharged 4.2-liter V8 is good for 444 horsepower and a neck-breaking 428 pound-feet of torque way down at 1,950 rpm. With quattro all-wheel drive, huge brakes, and a luxurious interior, the 6 Rupees may seem like a perfect sleeper, but buyer beware. Those power figures come at a price, namely that Audi could only use an automatic transmission, but the highest spec transmission they could find is still notorious for failing under load. Plus, those huge brakes are massively expensive to replace. Some tuners have tried to alleviate the RS6's shortcomings, including swapping in a manual transmission, but for the money, there are better sleepers out there. Lotus Carlton. Yes, there was once a Lotus sedan. Sorta. To look at an Opel Omega aka Vauxhall Carlton from the early 1990s is to look at a boring, perfectly average sedan designed by GM of Europe. And then the lovable lunatics at Lotus got a hold of it. After some minor tweaks to the exterior, Lotus engineers tore the standard Vauxhall Straight 6 apart, rebuilt it with much more robust performance goodies, and threw on a pair of turbochargers. When all was said and done, the 377 horsepower, nearly 180 mph capable Lotus was the fastest sedan in the world, and a favorite getaway car amongst brazen bandits looking to outrun cops. Volvo 850R. Here's a little secret that Europeans have known for ages but only enthusiasts, such as Paul Newman, know in America. Volvo has been making damn quick station wagons for decades. The subtle Swedes took things up a notch in 1995, after consulting with Porsche and producing the 300-horsepower 850 T5R. It was a success, so Volvo created the 850R based largely on the T5R for 1996 and 1997 before retiring it in favor of a new generation of sleeper wagons. Dodge Neon SRT4. The Dodge Neon is an affordably priced car that is ubiquitous on the streets of any city. With a small and efficient powertrain, the compact sedan is lightweight and was built in high enough numbers to ensure reliability. So when Dodge created an SRT4 version of the Neon, the plan seemed solid. Sadly, though, the Neon SRT4 mostly just plugs a turbocharger onto its engine, and engineers didn't think to depart from front-wheel drive to help keep the car planted. Weight for the SRT4 is also over 20% higher than a base model, while the redline for the Neon SRT4 is surprisingly low. Despite a top speed of over 150 miles per hour, which would be frankly terrifying to experience, the Neon SRT4 basically just becomes a mid-level car rather than the cheapest of the cheap option that a base Neon represents. Mercedes-Benz R63 AMG. The mid to late 2000s proved to be years when manufacturers truly pushed the limits of both turbos and superchargers in production vehicles. It seemed like every luxury brand cranked out at least one, if not many, ridiculously overpowered cars in that period, and though Mercedes hit the nail on the head a couple of times, they also flopped with the R63 AMG. The R series of minivan-style Mercedes offerings proved unpopular to begin with, and cramming a hand-built 6.2-liter V8 under the hood didn't help a model that already suffered from excessive weight and miserable handling. Mercedes put the nail in the R63's coffin by only offering it with all-wheel drive, adding more weight until the car was well over 5,000 pounds. Sleepy it may be, but despite huge power numbers, the R63 just couldn't satisfy any market at all. Saab 9000. The Saab 9000 isn't that dynamic a car. It's the tamer big brother to the 900 Turbo, but it has one advantage: it's really durable, perhaps a ridiculous amount of durable. This means that the engine can take a lot of abuse. A durable engine that can take abuse can also take mods. A Jalopnik reader gave them a shopping list to build out a 500 horsepower Saab 9000 including a Holset HX35, 1000 cc plus injectors, Walbro 255 cams, Volvo valve springs, uprated clutch, intercooler, new head gasket, some modifications to the exhaust, and you're off to the races in a simple-looking Swedish sedan. Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG wagon. Mercedes-Benz brought their W211 wagon to the United States to serve as direct competition with Audi's B5 S4, and in many ways the competition just wasn't fair. In E55 AMG form, the supercharged V8 churned out 490 horsepower from the factory and more than 520 pound-feet of torque. Sadly, no manual transmission could handle all that power, and the Benz was rear-wheel drive only, but from a standstill or on the highway most motorists would be shocked to see it pull away from the performance coupes of its day quite easily. Post-facelift W211s received an upgrade to the E63 AMG package, which lowered torque but increased horsepower as well as offering a limited slip differential. With a wagon shape even larger than the B5 S4 but a 0-60 time in the low 4-second range, Mercedes' offering was quite the sleeper, but good luck finding one today. Honda CR-X. These tiny two-door hatchbacks were only offered for a few years in the late 80s and early 90s. With fantastic engineering and components making them solid and very reliable, a motor swap or some basic work turned it into a very potent driving machine. Perfectly balanced and weighing less than 1,819 pounds 1988 HF, with a swap and a turbo they can put down 300 to 400 horsepower and walk right away from Lamborghinis and Ferraris.